Going live, and you are looking live at Sold Out Giants Stadium, where today the 16-0 New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Houston Texans. Why the Houston Texans 0-16? Because they suck. And welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody at all out there? Anybody? I greatly, greatly appreciate you spending some time with me here this evening, or if anybody's going to spend any time at all watching the replay of this. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. You guys absolutely rock. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. Going to try to go about 30 minutes here, as I always do. Try to shoot my mouth off. Anybody got anything to say? Put it in the chat box. I check on the chat box every so often. Every 5-10 minutes. Anybody got anything to say? Just throw it in the chat box. I usually respond to pretty much anything that gets put in there. All right, so just fire away. Before I get started, if you want to help support my channel, it would mean so much to me. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. I got 3 different membership levels. There's a link in the description box. It's the top link. It helps support my channel. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon. The second one's called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third membership level is called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them and all. There's loyalty badges that are involved. There's different emojis. They're pretty cool. I got 4 emojis right now. I have a 5th one that will be coming out shortly. Okay. So that's in there. It's the top link in the description box. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, okay, please click on the subscribe button. Hit the bell icon. That way, next time I go live or put out a video, you'll be notified. All right. I'm trying to build the channel up as well, too. As many subscribers as I can get, as many, views as I can get would be absolutely fantastic. And finally, in the description box below, there's also a 2 links, a couple links here. One, okay, we got this it's for a page and a group. The group I got is called, they're both called the Gridiron, oddly enough. The first one, has over 1,800 members, okay, in the group. Okay, there's new stuff that gets put in there every day. Usually I put like 3 or 4 things in there, 5 things maybe every day. And some of the group members post stuff in there as well. Right, so there's always stuff going in there every day, new stuff every day. And then as well on the page, okay, there's a link in the description box it's called the Gridiron as well. I got 260 people like the page and 308 people follow it as well. Okay. And once again, the same thing there. Every day there's new stuff going in there. All right. So feel free. Click on that stuff, like it, follow it, and all that stuff. It means so much to me. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. All right. So with all of that stuff out of the way, all right, we got we're talking Giants, so we got to be talking injuries, right? Even in the bye week, right? Even when we're not playing football, we still got guys getting injured and will be missing time. Simply amazing, absolutely amazing, isn't it? But first, I want to talk about some good news, okay? On the injury front, right? The Giants designate Shane Lemieux to return from injured reserve. Okay. Now he's going to start skating on some thin ice here. Okay. It doesn't matter who you are. Okay. It doesn't matter. If you can't play, if you're injured 99.9% of the time, you're not worth anything to anybody. Okay. That doesn't matter. Okay. It doesn't matter if you're Hall of Fame offensive lineman or if you're 13th string offensive lineman. Doesn't matter. You're not worth anything. Okay. And so he's getting on, he's going out into the pond on his ice skates, and in the middle of the pond, it's getting a little thin. The ice is getting a little thin out there. Okay. Because, I'm not telling, Shane or anybody anything new. They know what they got with him as far as with injuries and all that and everything. Now, last year he played in 19 snaps. Basically, it was the first quarter against the Denver Broncos, right? It was 19 snaps. He had a partially torn patellar tendon, which he basically injured, like, I don't know, like it seemed like the second day of like training camp or something. He missed, he didn't play in any preseason games, I don't believe. Right, he's in there for the first quarter, had some good marks, right? But I mean, that was a very small sample size. But I mean, obviously, he did rather well, okay, in the first quarter. Also considering the Giants basically had no offense whatsoever. I mean, we scored, what was it, 7 points with about 5 seconds to go in the game. We scored a freaking touchdown at home, opening day game, right, against the Denver Broncos last year with about 5 seconds to go. Daniel Jones ran it in as time expired to give us 13 points, and they don't kick the extra point. Okay. So that's why we had that's why we lost 27-13. All right. The defense was holding us in the game, keeping us in the game, because basically it was just like 1-2-3 punt the whole game. 1-2-3 punt, 1-2-3 punt, the absolute ungodly, pathetic offense we had. We gave up that one long touchdown run. But he played 19 snaps, okay, and then he was out the whole season, right? Now, basically the same thing this year. He hurt himself. I'm hearing a toe, then I seen a foot. I don't know exactly what it was, but then of course he didn't play any preseason games, so he missed 3 preseason games. He missed the first 8 games this season with a toe, a foot. So he's been out for months. Okay, with a toe / foot, whatever it's been. All right, so basically, what did he miss? Yeah, but 17 games last year and the preseason. So he missed basically 19 3/4 games last year out of the 20, right? So we've played 8 games plus the 3. So he's missed all 11 games this year. Okay, so basically he's missed, what would that be? 30 3/4 out of the last 31 games. If you want to throw preseason in there, regular season, 30 3/4 out of 31 games he's missed, okay, in the past 2 seasons. All right. So he's really getting on thin ice, okay? Because if you can't step on the field without popping a hamstring or stepping onto the field without blowing out your Achilles, or, if you can't walk and chew gum without, like, fracturing your elbow or something like that, you're worthless. I mean, I love the guy's attitude. He's got that little nasty edge to him, especially in the run game. He needs to work on his, maybe his pass blocking. But that's something you can get better with at time. Now, can he go from maybe where he was to a Hall of Fame level? No, I don't see that happening. Okay, but can he get better? Yeah, sure, of course. But if you can't play, right? Unfortunately, it being a business as much as it is nowadays, and it's only going to become more and more of a business as time goes by. As the years and years go by, it's going to become more and more of a business. It's if you can't step on the field without blowing out your patellar tendon or something, you're pretty much worthless, right? So he's skating on some thin ice, but it's nice to see him coming back. They designated him, okay, to return, okay. And I got this from the Big Blue View, okay. Giants announced Monday evening that they are activating offensive guard Shane Lemieux from the injured reserve. Lemieux suffered a toe injury way back in early August. So we got early August to early September to early November. 3 months. Okay, it's been 3 months. Okay. Landing him on the injured reserve after the final cutdowns. At the time, head coach Brian Dable said Lemieux wouldn't play anytime soon. And he was right. Yeah, 3 months. Yep. Lemieux opened camp as the starting left guard, but was adequately replaced by Ben Bredeson through the first 8 games of the season. So now going to be interesting to see, how he does. Does he start working his way back into the starting lineup? Be interesting to see, especially because Bredeson is on injured reserve. And we got a Zudu in there, okay? So I'm going to go over the depth chart. But had Bredeson not been injured in week 7, we could probably assume that he would continue to start at the left guard position. However, Bredesen suffered a knee injury against Jacksonville, landing him on IR, right? Rookie guard Joshua Ezeudu started for the Giants in Week 8, but had been a super sub through the first 7 games of the season. While Lemieux wasn't known for his pass protection over the first 2 years with the Giants, he didn't do too bad. It was just a small sample size. In the 1 quarter he played last year against Denver, he actually had some very nice numbers, period. Right? But it was just a quarter, just 19 snaps. He did develop a reputation as a powerful run blocker. As it so happens, the Giants have built their offense around running the ball, which could be Lemieux's path back to the starting lineup, particularly if the Giants value Ezeudu's versatility as a backup. So we're going to have to want to wait and see in here. All right. All right. And it says the guard spot's been manned by Ezeudu, who has had his share, but he's had some struggles. Okay. While it has not been yet determined if the Giants plan to continue giving Ezeudu the start at left guard, or perhaps even turning to Nick Gates, possibly. But that's where Nick Gates was at when he got hurt against Washington, right? Activated off the PUP list for the team's Week 10 game against the Texans, getting a healthy Lemieux back gives the Giants another option. So, what we got here? All right. Now, the depth chart here, okay? Now, we got at right tackle, we got Evan Neal, who's questionable, okay, this week coming up. Devery Hamilton is his backup. Right guard, we got Mark Lewinsky. Nick Gates is like a backup for 3 different positions. Okay. None of them are tackle. Okay. Where he wound up starting with the Giants at right tackle. Okay. But got Glowinski is the starter, right guard. Nick Gates is the backup. Jack Anderson is the 3rd string. This is on the ESPN depth chart. Feliciano is the starter at center. Nick Gates is his backup. See, now this is where we got, right. Left guard. Okay. Since Bredesen is on IR, we got Ezeudu, Tyree Phillips, Nick Gates. Okay. And then now we're going to have Shane Lemieux coming back as well, too. Then left tackle, we got Andrew Thomas, Devery Hamilton. Devery Hamilton is the backup. Okay. At both tackle positions. Okay. And then we got Matt Peart. Right, who still has not apparently returned yet. Okay. Let me see here. I got another depth chart here. We got, Ezeudu, Feliciano. Yeah, so they don't even have, they haven't even, none of them have added Lemieux back. Okay. So, I mean, they got him back, so, I mean, we'll have to wind up wait and see exactly what winds up happening. But he was planning on being, Shane Lemieux. The starting left guard was going to be Andrew Thomas, Shane Lemieux, Feliciano, Glowinski, Evan Neal. Okay. But then with Lemieux getting hurt, okay, that's when Bredesen slid in there. Okay. We weren't, sure, obviously in the beginning of the season if Nick Gates was ever going to come back, period. But we got Nick Gates. So we're getting some guys back. So, I mean, that's a plus. Okay. Now, Nick Gates only played, I believe it was 5 snaps. I think it was. Okay. But one of them was like a jumbo package he was in. Okay. That I remember him being in down by the goal line. So it's nice to see him back. Now, will he get some more snaps this week coming up? Will, being on a pitch count, will he get in 5 or 10 snaps this week? Then maybe against the Lions will it be 10, 15 snaps? Maybe Thanksgiving, maybe will it be in there for 15 to 20 snaps? We'll have to wind up waiting and see. right? Same thing with Shane Lemieux. All right, he's just coming back. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see, where and when and how long he winds up playing for. How many snaps he winds up getting here and there, and does he wind up becoming the starting left guard? Now, he's not going to be the starting left guard this week. It depends. We'll have to wait. Just wait and see. All right, we'll have to wait and see, because he might be on a pitch count as well. Especially because I'm sure he's probably not in fantastic, the best of shape. Right, but it's nice to see at least we're getting some guys back. Okay, and it said Evan Neal right now, for what I'm seeing here. Okay, he's questionable. Okay. All right. So, maybe he might need to take another week off or so. We'll have to wind up waiting and seeing. It's one of those things, especially with Evan Neal. You don't want to put him out there too soon and have him get injured again, or have him take another step back now that we're in the second half of the season. The thing is, at least with the Giants, okay, we can afford to go, like, say, 4-5. Okay, over the final 9 games and make the playoffs. We have a shot. They'll put us at 10-7, right? Because I tell you what, there's a lot of bad teams out there. There's nobody, right, in the NFC South that has a winning record. There's only one team, the North. The Vikings have a winning record. The Seahawks have a winning record. The Giants, the Cowboys, and Eagles. I think there's only 5 teams in the NFC who have winning records. So it's just a lot of bad football out there, right? So the Giants probably pretty much, they go 4-5 and they get themselves 10 wins, they should be in the playoffs, okay? So be nice. It's just nice to see that we're getting some guys back, okay? Especially on the offensive line, because, we could, use, help there. And then, obviously with the wide receiver position too. Hopefully maybe we can get Kenny Golladay back. That would be fantastic. All right. Now, of course, we had the good news. Now, of course, now we got the bad news. We got the good old the X-Man, Xavier McKinney, out multiple weeks after an injury in an ATV incident. Gotta love it, huh? Gotta love it. Even on our bye week, we're still losing guys due to injury. Simply freaking amazing. The bye week is a time to heal up for an NFL team, but not the Giants. Nope. They did not escape their break without incurring a significant injury due to one of their most indispensable players. Simply, absolutely freaking amazing. Safety Xavier McKinney, who had not missed a snap on defense the first 8 games of the season, posted on his Twitter account on Monday that he had an accident and injured my hand during a guided sightseeing tour on ATVs in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. McKinney reported, "The injury will keep me sidelined for a few weeks. It will not be only a few weeks." And the Giants placed McKinney, who broke a bone in his hand, on the reserve non-football injury list, meaning he must miss a minimum of 4 games. He is not eligible to return until Week 14 game against the Eagles at MetLife Stadium. So we can use him then, because we got Week 14 and Week 18. We got the Eagles. Week 14, home. Week 18, final game of the season in Philly. All right. And it's a huge blow to a team living and winning on the margins. McKinney, 23, not only played all 506 snaps on defense this season, he also wore the green dot helmet with the radio transmitter in it to relay the calls from defense coordinator Wink Martindale to the other defensive players. Dating back to Week 3 of last season, McKinney had played in 1,432 consecutive snaps, the longest active streak among the NFL defensive players. Whew, very impressive. That streak comes to an end on Sunday when the Giants 6-2 return to action to face the Texans at MetLife Stadium. So Now, where do the Giants go to replace McKinney? They cannot ask any more of Julian Love, the other starting safety, as Love has played 92% of the snaps on defense this season and all 100% of the snaps in 7 of the 8 games. The only time he missed was in week 4 against the Bears when he was forced off the field with a concussion. Love, though, could inherit the on-field play calling duties from McKinney, which is quite true. The other safeties on the roster are rookie Dane Belton, Jason Pinnock, and Belton has played 45% of the defensive snaps in his 7 games, and his usage has fluctuated, a high of 79% of the snaps against the Panthers and only 16% against the Seahawks. Pinnock, a special teams contributor, has only 1 snap on defense this season. So let's also not forget about Landon Collins, who was still in the practice squad after he was activated from the past 2 games. Collins played 23 snaps against the Jaguars and only 7 in Seattle. So I'll have to say, I mean, I'd be surprised if they didn't elevate Collins once again, especially now that McKinney's injured. Okay. Now in the practice squad, okay, we got 2. We got Landon Collins and we got Trenton Thompson. Okay, those are 2 safeties that we have on the practice squad, right? So quite possibly look for once again for Landon Collins to get elevated from the practice squad once again. Okay. Thankfully, at least the next 2 weeks, okay, are winnable games. You know, even if we don't have all hands on deck, certainly doesn't mean we're going to win both games. I mean, any given Sunday, the Giants go out there, obviously lay a stinker without question. Okay. So, I mean, don't ever take the Houston Texan game lightly because Houston only has 1 win. Don't ever take the Detroit Lion game lightly. All right. The Lions can put up some points. Okay. So, we got to be on our P's and Q's. But I mean, if we can get through these next 2 games and become 8-2, that would give us 7 games left. All right. And if we can go like 2-5, okay, out of the next 7 games, right? If we want to win these next 2, I mean, we should have a really good shot at making the playoffs. Okay. So we'll have to wait and see. All right. Then I got sort of this one article. It was pretty cool. I got ranking the 5 best moves Joe Schoen has made so far with the Giants. I'm going to add one in there myself, okay, because I think that there's another one that that wasn't included in here. Okay, I'm going to add that in myself. All right. The first thing they got is from G-Men HQ, from Fansided. Okay. They got the 5 best moves, okay, that Joe Schoen has made, right? First one is keeping Dexter Lawrence in Big Blue. Yep. Prior to the season, Dexter Lawrence was always one of the most solid players on the Giants defensive line. However, he was not yet at a star level. With that in mind, Schoen had the difficult decision of whether or not to pick up the 5th-year option on Lawrence in an attempt to lock him down for the future. Schoen made the right move and decided to accept this option to keep Lawrence, keeping the 24-year-old standout around for the 2023 season and potentially longer if Schoen decides to sign him to an extension, which I think he should. Absolutely. Halfway through the season, Schoen looks like a genius, as not only do we have Lawrence for a guaranteed extra season, but Lawrence is also in the midst of his best year yet. Through 8 games, Lawrence has racked up 28 combined tackles, 4 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 11 quarterback hits, and 1 forced fumble. Lawrence has looked like one of the best defensive linemen in the entire NFL thus far. So, absolutely. So, we got him next year, guaranteed, locked up, and all that and everything. Okay. And then, you can certainly, without question, wind up, extending that, giving him a nice little extension, sign him to a longer contract. So, can't argue with that one. All right, Dexter Lawrence. Next one is signing I know it's Fabian, but I like saying Fabian Moreau. All right. I mean, I'll tell you what. Talking about finding a needle in a haystack. This guy's been, I'll tell you what. I mean, we're not talking Hall of Fame, all pro level, nothing, but where this guy's come from and what he's contributed so far for the Giants has been really, really fantastic. Really fantastic. One of the biggest issues on the Giants defensive heading into the season was the lack of depth at the cornerback position. Yep. Obviously, it's hard to make notable improvements when you have a little to no cap space and other pressing matters on the team. However, one of Shane's best moves so far as GM was signing former Atlanta Falcons defensive back Fabian Moreau to the team. During his time with New York, Moreau has been nothing short of great, allowing only 19 receptions on 35 targets. I mean, better like 50%. For 241 yards and 1 touchdown. Moreau has also only allowed 50-plus yards in one game this season, that being against the Jaguars, where he essentially won the day for the Giants with his late-game heroics. Now, according to Next Gen Stats, the Raiders rock your mama. No, the Raiders rock your sin has been a top 5 lockdown cornerback this season. But right behind him, okay, Next Gen Stats. All right, they got Fabian Moreau is number 6. I mean, you got the Eagles with Bradbury and Slay, right? Now, where would they be if both those guys were hurt, right? Patrick Surtain II is number 3. Tyson Campbell from the Jaguars is number 4. Rock your mama from the Raiders, right, is number 5. And Fabian Moreau is number 6, according to Next Gen Stats. I mean, he's been fantastic. Now, with the injury to Aaron Robinson, Darnay Holmes, they got here disappointing play. I kind of argue with that one a little bit. The Giants need someone to step up in the secondary this season. Moreau has done that and more. All right. It has been clear that Shane has a very keen eye for talent. To bring in Moreau, a player that had very little interest during the offseason, and watch him turn into a great player is a testament of Shane's abilities. All right, then the next one we got. Move number 3, all right, drafting Daniel Bellinger in the 4th round. The loss of Evan Ingram, Kyle Rudolph, and Caden Smith in the offseason. Basically, our entire Chris Marek, he was on the practice squad. So basically, the 3 all tight ends that we had last year are all gone. It was extremely clear that the Giants needed to find a new tight end for Jones in the offense. With that in mind, Shane decided to select San Diego State Daniel Bellinger in the 4th round of the draft. This was an intriguing pick at the time, as while Bellinger was known for being a great blocker, his ability as a receiver was questioned. However, through 7 games, Bellinger has put that conversation to rest, catching 16 passes, 152 yards, and posting 3 total touchdowns. In addition to this, Bellinger's ability as a blocker has still remained as good as it was in college, with Bellinger receiving a run block rate of 62.3, which ranks 12th amongst tight ends. Now, hopefully, as he starts working on his craft, maybe getting a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit stronger, what have you, that grade might go up. But 62.3 for a rookie, very solid, very, very solid. As I said, once again, it's 12th among all tight ends. To select such an impactful player so late in the draft is amazing. Shane already did an amazing job with his selections in the first 2 rounds of the draft. So to take a player like Bellinger in the 4th is just icing on the cake. The Giants have been without a consistent tight end for quite some time now. If Bellinger can come back strong from his eye injury and continue his great level of play, the team could have their star tight end of the future. Okay, now we got number 2 here, fixing the Giants' broken offensive line. I mean, they brought in some guys. Over the last 5 seasons or so, one of the biggest issues for the Giants has been their dreaded offensive line, which made it nearly impossible for the offense to function. However, in one offseason with almost no cap space, Shane managed to bring in some very solid offensive linemen to help solve the issues. We're not saying these players have been perfect. No, they have not. As all of Evan Neal, Mark Lewinsky, and Feliciano have had their fair share of issues. However, considering how awful the offensive line was last season, we'll take the improvement. Regardless, all 3 of these players have been very solid in the run game. Where they have struggled has been in pass blocking situations. While it may be too late for Glowinski and Feliciano to show major improvements, Neal is an extremely promising player who we think will be a star in this league. I absolutely think so, no question. The good run blocking we have seen from the Giants' offensive line has been one of the key reasons for Saquon Barkley's resurgence this season. In addition to the starters, Schoen has done a tremendous job finding great depth for the offensive line. Players like Azeez, Devery Hamilton, and Tyree Phillips have done solid jobs when they have needed to step up. Now, obviously, we're never going to this year see anything with Marcus McKeithen because he's out for the season. But hopefully next year he can come back, all right, and work on his craft and hopefully be a contributor next season, right? Because he'll be there because he's only going to always get the shadow of the doubt, okay, because he was drafted by Schoen, okay? So he'll always get the shadow of the doubt unless he keeps getting injured. All right, then you're starting to skate on some thin ice. Okay, that's why the thing is with Shane Lemieux possibly getting on some because he was not drafted by those guys. Okay, and they know he missed all last season, and they know he's missed the first, including preseason, the first 11 games this season. Okay, so right, and he was not drafted. He's not drafted by Shane. Okay, so he's gotta stay healthy. Schoen did an all-around fantastic job at rebuilding the Giants' offensive line, especially with no cap space, very little cap space, okay? Without these players, we would likely be seeing a similar win-loss ratio to that of last season. And the last one, the undoubtable best move of Joe Schoen so far was hiring of Brian Daboll to be the head coach of the Giants. Following a disastrous head coaching tenure with Joe Judge, the Giants were in need of a new head coach, and almost as soon as Schoen was hired, he decided to bring his coworker in from Buffalo along with him, and coach Brian Daboll. 8 games into the season, it seems like Schoen could not have made a better pick, as not only did Daboll hire an amazing coaching staff to surround him, but he is also the clear front runner for Coach of the Year. Only halfway through the season, so let's don't forget about the Jets are okay, let's not forget about the Jets. All right, they just knocked off Buffalo yesterday. Pretty impressive. Okay, Pete Carroll down there in Seattle doing a pretty impressive job too as well. So, right, I mean, right now he was 6-1. Now we're 6-2. Right, a few more losses, and maybe the Coach of the Year talk starts going out the wayside. So, but we're only halfway through the season, but so far, I got to agree. Daboll has done a fantastic job. Daboll has already completely turned the New York Giants and their culture around in only half this first season. Who knows where the team would be without him? Bringing in both Wink Martindale and Mike Kafka with genius moves by Daboll. As while they may not be perfect, they've both done a great job at leading the Giants to their 6-2 start. Yeah. So, I mean, with all things considered, with what the Giants had on their roster, with no salary cap space to speak of, pretty much. I mean, right now they have none. They can't bring in anybody, really. Right? They've done a fantastic job. I want to just add one more thing here. I think that this article does not go, into. I want to just speak out here. I think one of the best things that Joe Schoen has done, so far, is not bring in a wide receiver. Okay. Before the trade deadline, because it would have meant giving away draft capital, right? Do you want to give up? I mean, like, what was it? Was it Claypool? I think it was a second round pick that they gave up for Claypool, right? They traded him away. What he said, I think he said stuff just didn't match up. Okay, it's like, we're getting this guy. Okay, and we got to give away the second round pick for this guy. Not only it's going to cost us, some money or whatever, but so it just didn't line up, right? Meaning it's like, we probably could get a better wide receiver in the second round, in the draft. And we can also maybe, pick and choose maybe who we kind of want, right? If we want a speedster, somebody on the outside, somebody who's healthy, get somebody in the second round who would be cheap, right? Sign somebody in a second round pick to a 4-year deal, the 4-year rookie deal, right? It's going to be cheap. Okay. We can get, we can get some good wide receivers, right, in the draft. Doesn't have to be a first rounder. I mean, obviously, if you got somebody in the first round, you want the guy to be pretty much a rock star, okay? But I think one of the best things he did was also keeping the Giants' long-term goal in mind and not mortgaging it right now, pushing the chips in the middle of the table with a team that's probably not going to the Super Bowl, okay? I don't want to burst anybody's bubble or be Nancy negativity here or nothing like that. But, he's just keeping the team's long-term goals, the long picture, the big picture in mind. Okay. And by keeping the draft capital, okay, that he has, okay, as I said, because we're looking at maybe another 11 picks next year as well. We got 9 picks now. We had 7. Okay. We had, was it 2 7s, right? We had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We didn't have a 6th, but we had 2 7s. Okay. Now we got a 3rd round by trading away Kadarius Toney. We got a 3rd rounder and we got a 6th rounder. So now we got 9. We might get 2 compensatory picks next year, which will push us up to 11. We'll have another 11 draft picks. Hopefully, I said we're going to get Darian Beavers back, Marcus McKeithen. I'm sure how fantastic. I was bummed out about Beavers, right? McKeithen, I'm always pulling for those guys, those 3rd, 4th, 5th round guys. Absolutely, I want them to do good. We'll have to wait and see. But with Beavers, I was bummed out about that. I really want to see that guy in the field. But I'm saying we'll get those guys back, plus the other draft picks we have. Okay. We'll have a little bit of cap space next year. We might, extend some contracts or whatever. We'll have to see. Maybe we can get a nice little juicy person, maybe sign somebody, right? I don't think we're going to be going hog wild crazy, right? Because I said, we don't have Saquon Barkley signed. We don't have a quarterback for next year. That's a problem. Okay. Unless we're going to go through the season with Tyrod Taylor. All right. I love Tyrod, but he gets hurt. Okay. Love Tyrod. I mean, whether he's just, is Tyrod, is he somebody who can take it and win the Super Bowl? Yeah. But you got to have an unbelievable defense. You better have some real good wide receivers, and all the Giants don't have that. But I mean, having Tyrod on the team, I love it. Having him as our backup, absolutely freaking love it. But I mean, Joe Schoen keeping the big picture in mind. Okay, another 11 picks, right, possibly for next year. Bringing those guys in, maybe bringing in another, a free agent, a good free agent or so, which is going to make us a little bit better next year, right? So he's just keeping the teams, the big picture in mind. Okay, as I said, not pushing all the chips in the middle of the table on a team that's probably not going to the Super Bowl and giving away some draft picks. I'd rather have the draft picks to be truthful with you. You know what I mean? And it just showing you how Dable how Schoen has done drafting. Okay. So far, I think he's done a phenomenal job. I'd like to see Wan'Dale Robinson get a little more involved in the offense. Okay. Especially being our 2nd round pick, but hopefully in time. But I mean, I think Shane's done a very good job at drafting. All right. And I said, if he hits a couple more home runs out of the park next year with our drafts, the Giants will be heading in the right direction. So I think that's another thing. I just wanted to bring out in that article. I think Shane's done a very good job. Okay, so far. But that's been 38 minutes, guys. Shoot my mouth off for 38 minutes. Anybody spent any time at all watching this? Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Or anybody spends any time at all watching a replay of this. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. You guys absolutely rock. And as always, guys, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo!